Obito Uchiha was one of the last villains of the Naruto series, one of the most powerful in the entire series as well. In the end of the series, he decided to declare war on the rest of the planet. Luckily, someone came along and provided him some help, which was Kabuto, who ended up being another one of the final villains of the series. And honestly, these two were a force to be reckoned with, not just because of the arsenal that they have, but also what they came with. For Obito, it was the Zetsu army. For Kabuto, is the Edo army. And needless to say, they gave the Ninja Alliance a whole heck of a lot of trouble. But I'm curious as to what would happen if that wasn't the case. Today with me, I have my buddy Kyle Kenny. Say hey, everybody.
Hey guys, back for another one.
General veterans, you know who this guy is, but if you don't know who this guy is, he's been with me since day one doing these Naruto videos. I have him on for every now and then to have some what if conversations. And so today I had him on here because I thought about this the other day. I was like, man, the reanimation ninja were busted. Like some of them were not as strong as I thought they were going to be. They were hyped up too much and they didn't live up to it. But other ones were busted, i.e. Itachi, Nagato, and of course Madara. And then the Edo Kage themselves. In this scenario, we're talking about what if Kabuto just didn't join forces with Obito. We did this in two separate scenarios. One scenario we did was what if Kabuto was in the war, but he was acting on his own and not joining forces with Obito, because Kabuto still wanted Sasuke. That was the compensation for joining Obito in the original series, was he wanted Sasuke. So what if he just felt like Obito wasn't gonna fold, and what even if he threatened him with Madara or whatever, Obito still wasn't gonna fold. Or if Kabuto just acted on his own and didn't even tell Obito. We thought about that, but the thing is nothing really changes too much on Kabuto's side, because still the Edo army still acts the same way. I mean, the only thing they're really gonna be fighting is gonna be them fighting both the Zetsu army and the Ninja Alliance. And certain Edos like Itachi and Nagato, for example, I don't really see much being different in their on their side, meaning that they'll probably run into Naruto and B, and in doing so, the crow that was inside Naruto will cast Kodo Watsukami on Itachi, inherently go find Kabuto to release the Edo Tensei. So either way, Kabuto gets taken care of. So I think we're just gonna do this as a what if Kabuto just wasn't on the battlefield at all. For example, Naruto, Yamato, and Hinata in mid-Shippuden actually ended up catching Kabuto instead of him getting away. So Kabuto is a prisoner in the Leaf Village or whatever. Either way, he's just not involved in the war. By extension, the Edo Tensei army is not a factor. And so this changes a lot. So without Kabuto being a part of Obito's plan, it kind of begs the question, what was his plan? Honest to God, me and Kenny were talking about this for over a week now, and we're just kind of running through our minds of how I don't understand what Obito was really planning to do. Now, in his defense, he may not have even known that Naruto was going to be able to hide in that little place that the Raikage sent him and B to, because that was almost it almost seemed like it was its own separate dimension on its own for him to train with the Nine Tails. So Obito may not have known that, so he may have thought that there was a chance that he could Kamui teleport to wherever Naruto was discreetly and take him prisoner. But even that said though, he still declared war on the rest of the world, and all he had was the Zetsu army. And honestly, now that I think about it, the Zetsu army is going to be even weaker here, because if Kabuto isn't in this play, there's a very good chance that Yamato doesn't get captured. And so if he doesn't get captured, he isn't able to reinforce the White Zetsu army with the Hashirama Wood style. And we already saw the Ninja Alliance was doing a pretty good job fighting just the Zetsu army. So they're going to be even in a worse shape against the Ninja Alliance here. So all he had was the Zetsu army. And yeah, he did have the Biju. But we saw how the Ninja Alliance force, when they were all coordinated, were able to do a decent job to the Ten Tails just by itself. So I don't know. I'm not so sure that even with the 7 people, I think I might be hyping the Ninja Alliance, but look, Naruto seemed pretty convinced that Jutsu was gonna, beat Obito and Madara. So I'm rambling. Kenny, what do you think so far?
I mean, but personally, so it's like with the reanimations, the main thing with them was the whole like backstory and emotional scenes, and really the only one that played a serious role was Madara. So I mean, if you take him out of the picture and it's just Obito fighting the Alliance, it's not nearly as intimidating as Madara being on the field. Not to mention, I mean, a lot of it was just kind of distractions for the Alliance just to split them up. You know what I mean? So now you've got all like the full force just on Obito. So the only real issue you run into is if B and Naruto don't get to the battlefield on time to help with the Bijou. You know what I mean? That'd really be the only threat.
Yeah, on that note, as like a side note that we're going to do, because I did think about it. Now, what I'm about to say might seem out there, but I think what a lot of people do forget is the feudal lords. Now, I might be underestimating their value within the Naruto lore. But I gotta be honest with you, because like there was a plan. Like Zetsu kind of did bring it up to Obito. It was after that they found out that Naruto and B had entered the battlefield. Like they'd entered the fray. And Zetsu's like, do you still want to try to capture the feudal lords as hostages? And Obito's like, well, no, now that, the Nine Tails and Eight Tails are out in the battlefield, I was going to use them as bargaining chips to exchange for the Bijou. And so like that could still be a play that Obito decides to use. But I got to be honest with you, man. If push came to shove, I don't think that the Kage, especially like Gaara, Tsunade, and the Raikage specifically, I don't think they'd be giving up Naruto and B, even at the risk of the feudal lords. I got to be honest with you. Like,
Nah.
Like maybe I'm underestimating their importance, but to be honest with you, like the hell with them. Like they don't. I'm being dead serious. Like I don't think that B, Tsunade, and Gaara more than anybody really would be giving up Naruto and B. So even if Obito did capture the feudal lords, because like honestly, like even outside of personal affection, the end of the world versus the feudal lords, I mean, it's really not. I don't want to underestimate their value and importance in the series, because I do kind of treat the feudal lords like in some cases they treat them like more serious than the Hokage or the Kage of each village. But the thing is, like again, compared to the end of the world, the scales kind of tipped in the other side of the spectrum. So yeah, I don't think that play is gonna work either. So now we get getting back to the main scenario here. So looking at this, man, I gotta be honest with you guys. I don't think Obito had any intention of resurrecting Madara post Pain Arc. I know that was kind of the case, like the plan that they made to have Nagato sacrifice himself to bring Madara back. But after Nagato betrayed the Akatsuki to bring back all the villagers at the cost of his own life, I think that plan just drove everything into chaos for Obito. And I don't think that he planned on resurrecting Madara, because I mean, you remember they weren't really on the same side. They were both like, we have a common enemy type of deal. So it's like you can tell by the conversation that they had in the War Arc that they weren't really on the same side. Obito literally like notes this to Madara's face. It's like, I'd never really considered you a comrade. Like I know exactly what you want to do. You want to use me as a sacrifice to bring you back to life so you could become the 10-tailed Jinchuriki. Oh, well, would you look at that? That's exactly what I want to do. So at the risk of not, because again, if Madara is alive, he has way more opportunities than Obito to become the 10-tailed Jinchuriki. So that might throw a wrench in Obito's plan. So unless push came to absolute shove, I don't think Obito is resurrecting Madara. I might be convinced otherwise, but for right now, Madara is going to be out of this scenario. And I'll tell you why at the end of the video. So just stick around for that. If that is the case, I don't think Obito wins this war. Because the thing is, and me and Kenny were kind of discussing this too, I'm not so sure if Obito can actually still summon the 10 tails without the 9 tails chakra. Because so another thing too is that like Naruto's going to stay in his training area for a little bit longer. Like he won't find out about the war as soon, because if there's no Edo Tensei army, then Kikaku and Kikaku, who have 9 tails chakra, won't be running amok on the battlefield, because that was one of the things that triggered Naruto's awareness of that something was going on. So if that doesn't happen, there's a chance that Naruto stays in his training area for a little bit longer and doesn't find out about the war as soon as he did. I'm still willing to think that he probably will at some point. I mean,
I think either the Raikage would send somebody for them, or maybe once the battle started with the Biju. One or the other.
Yeah. I mean, even if that wasn't the case, like even like little interactions through Iruka or Killer Bee, like as soon as Naruto steps outside, he's gonna find out. That's like the whole thing. It's like he'll enter sage mode and then he'll sense everything that's going on, and then the same thing will still happen. But if that is the case, if Naruto stays in the training area for a little longer, I mean, without the Kikaku Nine Tails stuff, like he only has a little bit of the Eight Tails chakra from the tentacle that they have from Killer Bee to complete the 10 tails. That's it. So I'm kind of back and forth. I don't think he can still summon the 10 tails, but there's always a part of me that feels like, but the minimal chakra that they had from both the 8 tails and 9 tails, it just seemed kind of odd that he could still summon the 10 tails. I know that's like a plot hole that people talk about all the time. Without the 9 tails chakra, I'm going to assume that Obito cannot summon the 10 tails, meaning that all he has is 7 Biju he has.
Yeah, I think it's more of like even if it's a small amount, you need to have all the pieces. You know what I mean? But maybe the amount of chakra you get from each affects the strength of the 10 tails.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the 7 Biju are stacked, but don't sleep on the alliance, bro. Like I said at the beginning of the video, and when all of them were coordinated, they did a pretty good job against the 10 tails. Like, let's just be real here. Like, yeah, it may not have been, like, it may not have amounted to a whole lot, but I don't know, man. Like, I think that the Ninja Alliance feat that was shown off in that fight was pretty good. And that's not even counting that the 5 Kage will probably be on that same battlefield as well. Now, because now they're not going to be torn apart by Madara in this scenario, they have more liberties to help coordinate their own armies or their own villages or whatnot and still work together to bring Obito down.
Like, they're not going to have to fight 20 Susanos.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. Well, and that's all before Naruto and B actually get on the battlefield. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like in combination with the whole Ninja Alliance force, 5 Kage, Kakashi, and Guy. And that's like, again, we haven't even really talked about Kakashi's counter to Kamui. Like, I'm sure at some point Kakashi will probably still find out about Obito. Like, I'm sure he'll still be able to figure out how to counter Kamui. Whether it's before or after Naruto gets there.
If for no other reason, the plot of the story would force it to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so like, I can't see a way Obito wins this. Like, I told Kendall, like, I was kind of joking to Kendall, like, maybe his best bet would have to be like become the Jinchuriki of one of the other tail beasts to add something to his power. I mean, that's not the only thing I can think, but I don't think he would even do that. So, like, without him being able to become the 10 tails Jinchuriki, there's really nothing Obito can do. Like, I'm sure there's gonna be. Okay, look, listen, y'all. I love Obito. Obito is by far one of my favorite characters in this series. And I'm still saying he's not doing anything against, like, even if the White Zetsu army were to come to back him up, they still get taken care of. Bare minimum by the time Killer Bee and Naruto get there.
Definitely, just the armies themselves will take each other out. So you still got all the big hitters just for Obito.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, once Naruto and B get on the field, you have Naruto, B, Kakashi, Guy, 5 Kage at bare minimum could deal with Obito, while the Ninja Alliance force probably can take care of all the 7 Biju. Again, like, you have all these fast characters, like Raikage.
We've still got 8 gates.
Yeah, 8. Yeah, God forbid. Yeah, God forbid. Like, even if Obito can somehow summon the 10 tails, become a Jinchuriki without the aid of the chakra of the 9 tails, bare minimum 8 gates guy still save the day. I don't know, man. I don't think Obito's winning this without Madara. Like,
I mean, he didn't win it with Madara.
That's so that's fair. But I mean, to be fair though, like, if we exclude the idea that Guy wouldn't go that far just yet, and if Obito is somehow able to become the 10 tails Jinchuriki, then the Ninja Alliance is screwed. Because at that point, there's nothing they can do. Like, Mifune kind of said this in the 5 Kage Summon, like, there must be great risk of Obito using the Biju, otherwise there wouldn't have been a reason for him to come and negotiate with us before declaring war. You know what I'm saying? So, and that, you know, it's probably the same case with the whole 9 tails. Why go through all the trouble of declaring war if it was that easy to just use a little bit of a piece of the 9 tails chakra and the 8 tails chakra to summon the 10 tails? Meaning that, or implying that Obito needed at least a little bit of the Nine-Tails chakra. And I'm like, you could argue that maybe with a Rinnegan, he'd be able to steal some Nine-Tails chakra away from Naruto and then like some of the Ten-Tails. But I think that's very easier said than done, just from the fact that like the 4v1, like how tough it was for Obito to actually get the, you know, the convoy pull in on Naruto. It's like, that was the whole reason why Naruto was saved in the first place, was Guy and Kakashi like arriving there at the last second. So I don't know, with Kakashi, Guy, B, and all the other Ninja Alliance out there, like I just don't see a way Obito can get any chakra from Naruto, especially if at any point Naruto ups from KCM to KCM2, which makes it even more faster. So yeah, without Madara, Obito is screwed. And this is where we get into this the teaser that I had left earlier. We are forgetting another big player in this war, Sasuke. How is Sasuke going to be involved in this scenario? Now, without Madara, Sasuke might actually be Obito's only hope. Now, that's where it comes into play, like, how is Sasuke going to be now? Because as we said earlier, without the Edo Tensei army from Kabuto, Itachi is not on the field. Itachi is not there to give a new perspective to Sasuke. And so he's going to still be hell-bent on revenge. Now, to be fair, Sasuke was committed to keeping the promise to Naruto that he wouldn't fight anybody else from the Leaf Village until he fought Naruto first. So, bare minimum, the other villagers from the Leaf Village are safe. But that might change once Sasuke gets to the battlefield. And the thing is, too, something I did forget, and this is where we're gonna leave off for today's video, because this is gonna be a teaser for part 2. Something that most people do forget is that Jugo and Suigetsu were looking for Sasuke to give him the scroll that had the Edo Hokage. So that's going to be part 2, is how Sasuke is going to get involved in this war with the Edo Kage. There y'all have it. there's the part 1. I know it was kind of like
to be continued.
Yeah, to be continued. Yeah, I know it was kind of like, you know, I made it seem like we're taking a dump on Obito here, but it's like, what could he do? I don't see a reason. I don't see how he wins unless he is somehow miraculously still able to summon the Ten-Tails. And even then, even if he does summon the Ten-Tails, you could argue that he may not, like, the Alliance may not be, like, give him enough time to do so without Madara being there to help him. Yeah, I mean, Kenny, unless you got anything, to add?
No, I'm with you. I'm pretty sure he gets smoked on this one. And I like Obito a lot.
So yeah, just keep an eye out for part 2, guys. We'll get on it as soon as we can, and we'll let you know how Sasuke gets involved. But again, stay tuned for part 2. Make sure you like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Click the bell for more notifications. And until part 2, like and blade.